best car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low.
Hello and welcome to the Frontier Motor Show. My name is Ivan Struckel, and we will be talking about cars for the next 30 minutes. Now, don't change the channel. Just because you're not interested in a car doesn't mean we don't have any information for you. You never know when you're driving down the road, and you know those red light runners that we have in Pensacola? They do that red light running thing, and next thing you know, you're T-bone, and hopefully you have side airbags. You come out of alive, but your car is dead. So what are you going to do? You're going to replace it. So what we can help you with when that happens, and that hopefully is not going to happen to you, but I have a lot of people that tell me that I didn't think I'd need a new car, and next thing you know, they're in the market for a new car. When I say new, we're talking about almost new, because that's what we specialize in, is pre-owned cars. What that means is that could be 4 months old, 5 months old, a year old, all the way up to 15 years old, depending on what we take in trade and what passes inspection. We are I would say the alternative to a new car. So if you think about buying new, you stop in at Frontier Motors. But again, you might not be interested in buying a car right now. So what this show is about a little bit, what's going on in the car industry nationwide, also in our neck of the woods, and also what we do at Frontier Motors to help you when you are in the market for a car, or perhaps you're going to be doing the Dave Ramsey thing and you're going to be selling your car. So how do you do that? Well, I see people put their cars on Facebook, on Craigslist, AutoTraderCars.com. That's one way to do it. The easiest way to do it, if you're going to sell your car, is to get some helpful hints from Frontier Motors and a free advice. And what we can do in 15 minutes also, by the way, is we can give you a buy bid on that car. Last month we delivered 234 cars, which means I've got to buy 234 cars. So we would love to buy from private individuals in our area that we can do a survey on your car so we can talk to you. Sometimes if I buy cars at auctions, I'm not able to talk to the individual that actually drove that car. So I'd love to buy it from people right here. And also, who knows, maybe you've got someone that you know that might be interested in buying your car, but you don't want to do that transaction yourself. You don't want to have to put a warranty on it. You don't want to take a trade-in. You definitely don't want to finance it. And those are the reasons that I buy cars from private individuals. And right now, there is a car shortage. We normally try to stock between 350 and 400 cars. I'm down to a little bit below 300 cars. So we're really kind of hard up to buy your car from you, which means that I'll pay a little bit more than normal. And also the fact that you're bringing me the car, I don't have to pay transportation. You're bringing me the car, so I don't have to buy a buyer's fee. I don't have to pay a buyer a fee. You're bringing me the car, which means I don't have to buy a fee that I have to pay at the auction that the auction is going to make. And based on that, I can normally pay more, and you'd be pleasantly surprised on the dollar amount that I can give you for a car, where people think that a dealer is always going to steal your car. Well, Frontier Motors, we make it fair for everybody. We make it fair so you get more than wholesale. I can still make a little bit of a profit, and yet my customers buying the car from me is getting a good deal or a better deal than what the competition has by either providing a car in better condition, a car that has less miles, or that has more equipment. And those are all the things that make up a deal. It's not always about the bottom line price. Matter of fact, a lot of research that they do in the car business talks about that the price is the number one thing in the customer's mind, but when it actually comes down to it, even if the price is really good, if you don't like the color, you don't like the equipment, you don't like the condition, the price really doesn't matter anymore. And that's why sometimes driving out of the area to buy a car, I think, is useless. There's so many people that I have talked to that say, oh, I found a car in Miami that's $1,500 less. So they take the road trip and they come back and they buy from us because that car down in Miami that was cheaper wasn't a nice car. And you can't see that on pictures. And dealers will lie. Of course, you're going to call them and ask them. But so be careful on who you deal with. If you look at Frontier Motors, you're going to find that we've been in business here going on 25 years, and that we're the only ones that I know of in Pensacola. And I checked, there's 100-something used car dealers in Pensacola, and there's over 30 new car dealers. And when you Google it, we have the highest rating of any independent used car dealership in our area. I've never seen anybody that's a 4.8 rating. And that means that we have good reviews, which is hard to get when you're in the car business, especially the used car business, because what happens in the used car industry, when you sell a car and it breaks, they give you a bad review. So what we try to do is make sure that when we sell a car, it's not going to break. obviously anything can happen. And when something does happen, we are the ones that sit behind you and say, okay, is this a reasonable request from a customer? And I have customers that have come in that have bought cars elsewhere, and a car is broken down 4 days later, and they're pretty much given the boot. Hey, you bought that car as is, it doesn't have a warranty, the new car factory warranty is out, and you're on your own. Well, Frontier Motors, any car that we sell, we give you a 10-year, 100,000-mile drivetrain warranty. So if you buy a 5-year-old car from us, as long as the car is not modified, you're going to get 5 more years of engine transmission. That engine blows up, the transmission goes out within the next 5 years. After that, you're going to get 100% taken care of. Most of our cars that we sell, I would say probably 70, maybe 60% of the cars that we sell are still under factory warranty, which is transferable. Years and years ago, you used to fill out a form, you used to pay $25. Forget about that. You don't do that anymore. The ID number is under warranty. So if you're buying a 1-year-old car as a 3-year warranty, you still have 2 years of full factory warranty left. A lot of these new cars like Lincoln, for example, even include maintenance. That means the oil is changed, the tires are rotated, the brakes are taken care of within a certain limit time, and that is transferable to the second owner. Years ago, that was only transferable to first owner. Hyundai, you remember everybody when Hyundai 10 years ago or 15 years ago started advertising their 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty? Well, that was only to the first owner. So if you bought the vehicle from us, you wouldn't get that. So what we did is we found a warranty company that I pay one fee, and I have a blanket policy that my cars are covered for my customers. So if you buy a 1-year-old car, you're going to have another 9 years of warranty. The same thing that you would if you bought it from the factory. We also, being an independent dealer, the other thing that we do is we can give you free advice on which we feel is a good car and bad car, not just based on consumers' reports, which I'm a fanatic about reading from cover to cover when the car issues come out, but also based on our experience of doing this for 25 years. I know customers that have come back and said, man, that car wasn't that good of a car. And I know customers that have come back and said, man, I'd buy another car just like that because that was the greatest car I ever had. So that based on experience for reliability. Now, Consumers Reports comes out yearly with their reliability rankings. And I happen to have my Consumer Reports right here, and it's how the reliability stacks up on every car out there. They also come out with the brand ratings. Now, what's the difference between a brand rating and reliability rating? Well, when they talk about a brand rating, they have scoring for every car out there, and their editors come up with what they feel is the best brand. And what they do is they take, the way that works is the overall score for individual models based on 4 key factors. One of them, 25%, is reliability. The other one is road test. How does the car drive? How quiet is it? How smooth it is? How does it perform? How are the brakes? The other one is owner satisfaction. So they call thousands of owners and say, would you buy that car again? Well, if the answer is no, it's going to get a lower rating. If the answer is yes, they're going to get a better ranking. And the other one that most people don't put a lot of emphasis in, and that is safety. I'm a safety nut. I talked about before they got a lot of red light runners in Pensacola. Well, if you don't have side airbags, you got a problem. Because your front airbags or your rear airbags aren't going to help you if you have a side impact. What about blind spot? What about automatic braking? These are all safety features that Consumer Reports looks for when they give the ratings. So they come out with the best brands. And I'll give you an example with the differences between reliability and brand. BMW last year was number 2. By the way, Mazda was number 1. You'd never believe it. We sell a lot of Mazdas. I'm a Mazda fan because of this rating. They talk about the best overall brand is Mazda. BMW is number 2. Pretty cool. But when you look at their reliability rating, BMW is number 12. So obviously they must have really good roadability, really good customer satisfaction, really good safety, but their reliability is just average. So then you have a car like Lexus, which is number 6. They have one of the best reliability ratings, but they don't really like the way the car performs. And Consumer Reports puts a lot of emphasis on handling, squeaking around the corners. Well, a lot of Lexus buyers could care less. They want a quiet, smooth car, and that's what Lexus provides. And Lexus provides one of the most reliable cars out there. And Lexus was number 3 for reliability. Toyota and Lexus are 1 and 2, right back and forth. And the cool thing about looking at this, you'd probably buy a Buick if you're looking for a reliable car, even though it doesn't stack up really good for the brand. Buick is number 8 for the brand, but it's number 4 in reliability. Honda is also pretty good. They've come way back. Honda about 4 years ago wasn't very reliable. Everybody always thinks that Honda is always reliable. That wasn't true. They had about 3 or 4 years there. They weren't so good. They had engine and transmission problems. Well, they made a big comeback, and they are number 5 for reliability. So I look at reliability more than the rest of the brand rating because I want cars that when I deliver them to you, that you're not going to have an issue with it. Because if you won't have an issue with it, you're more apt to come back and buy another car from us. And that's what it's all about. And that's why our rating is so high, because most of our customers are repeat and referrals. Well, how do you get repeat and referrals when you're selling used cars? Because most people that buy a used car go wherever the used car is, but not our customers. Our customers love the way that we do business here because we don't take offers. We don't say, make me an offer, give me a deposit. We tell you how much our car is going to run. We give you a discounted price in writing. We add all the fees. We give you a very good high appraisal on your car. We deduct that and we circle the bottom line. If it's a payment that you're wondering about, we can tell you what the payment is. Whether it's your bank or our bank is immaterial. We'll tell you what the payment's going to be if you're going to be financing that car, because that also comes into play. About 50% of our customers are more in tune to what the payments are, and the other 50%, are more in tune to what the bottom line is going to be. So that all has to do with how you're treated when you come to Frontier Motors. We don't pressure you into making a decision. We tell you, hey, if you're not sure, our bottom line is the best there is, go shop. And we even tell you where the car is. We have a thing called drivability, and we have a price driver report in our system that tells us the car you're looking at, who's got one in our area. It defaults to 150 miles. I can go out nationwide. I can go out within 300, 500 miles. If you want to go to Orlando and Atlanta, I can go 500 miles. It'll tell you every car like mine, how much it is, what they're asking for, and what the equipment is. That way you can get an idea while you're sitting at the dealership if the deal I'm giving you is the best deal. And as I said before, the best deal is not necessarily the best price, even though that's what a lot of times the customer comes in, well, I want to be at $20,000. Okay, let's just say hypothetically our car is at $21,000, but it has all the safety features that the car down the road for $20,000 doesn't have. I would definitely urge you to buy our car and somehow see if you can figure out how to get another $1,000 from grandma, or maybe finance another $1,000 if you have the safety feature. What if our car has 15,000 less miles on? That's the average driving for a year. So you'd have one more year of driving if it's a little bit more. What if our car was a color that you like versus an ugly color? What if our car was in better condition? The number one thing, the number one price driver out there is not the equipment, it's not even the miles, it's not the color. Those are all important features. It's the condition. Because I've seen people go out of town to buy a car that was cheaper, and they come back because the condition of the car they looked at was subpar. It had nicks in it. It smelled like smoke. Maybe they had a dog and they were scratching the inside panels of the door. The interior wasn't very nice. The outside of the tires had plenty of tread, but the inside tires were completely worn out because they never were rotated. So now you got to think about putting $800 worth of tires on the car. Check tire prices these days. You'll have a shock right there. You think car prices are bad? Check tire prices. These are all things that make up what I consider a good deal. And we give you all that ammunition so you can make up your mind, and you don't have to make it the first time in. If you want to go shop, if you want to go and talk to your spouse, if you want to think about it, that's what we do, and not make you feel uncomfortable that that's what you're doing. So, difference between reliability and brand ratings. Mazda is up there. Mazda is the only one that is number one for brand and number one for reliability. I had a little huddle when these came out a couple months ago. I had a huddle with our salespeople. And I said, hey, do you guys know which is the best car out there? Everybody said Toyota or Honda or Lexus or Nissan, or now Buick has come on for the domestics. I said, no. It's an inexpensive Mazda. They make a great car. And guess what happened to our Mazda sales? They went through the roof. We had Mazda sitting on a lot that nobody looked at for a while. Well, you get a salesman to show this to a customer and say, hey, if you want a car that is inexpensive compared to the competition, you can buy a Mazda CX-5, which is the equivalent of a Honda CR-V or the Toyota RAV4, for thousands of dollars less than the Honda Toyota. And guess what? They have a better warranty, and they have a better reliability than those other two brands that I just mentioned. And that sometimes comes with education. Sometimes people have preconceived notion that a certain car is good when they're really not. We sell all makes and models. We even sell makes and models of cars that have a bad rating. because that's what customers want. Years ago, for example, Mercedes had a bad rating. Where's Mercedes now on reliability? Mercedes right now, and we sell a lot of Mercedes, so I'm not dogging anybody that wants a Mercedes, but if you're looking for reliability, that's not the car to get. It's number 20 in reliability. They've come a long ways because they used to be even worse than that. But they're 20 for reliability. And for overall brand, they are 21. So either way, they're not that good. But you know what? They're a great car. They drive great. They look great. They have huge depreciation, which makes them a good buy in the used car market. Not so much if you buy them brand new, but you can get a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old Mercedes for a fraction of what it would cost for a new one. Now, if you're going to ask me my opinion, I'm obviously not going to pull this out if I'm going to talk about Mercedes unless you want me to. And I've shot myself in the foot plenty of times when customers said, what is your opinion on a particular car? And I base that on a couple of things. I base that on consumers reports, and I base it on reality of what happens when we deliver one. Now, I do have to say, in the last 3 years, I haven't had any issues with cars that I had issues with before, which included Mercedes, BMW, Jaguar, and Audi. Those cars are much better than they were 10 years ago. Matter of fact, 10 years ago, I didn't even want to sell a used BMW because they had nothing but issues. And now they're much, much better. And right now, Consumers Reports rates BMW the second best brand out there right now. By the way, the third best brand is Subaru. Subaru has made such a comeback. They're number 8 for reliability. They're number 3 overall. We're lucky enough to have a local Subaru dealership right here. Billy Anderson's our local dealer. I always urge everybody, if you're going to buy brand new, patronize our local dealerships. Go see Billy Anderson and his staff up there. And of course, where I come in is I would show you maybe a 2021 or 2020 used Subaru. And then we would compare that to the price of a new one. And the way to do that, folks, especially if you have a trade-in, is to go with the bottom line. Don't worry about list prices. I've had this happen already where I've got a car marked at close to what a new one is. And the customer says, well, you're not any cheaper than a new one. I said, well, let's get down to the bottom line, especially when a trade-in is involved. What if I discounted my car, I have less fees, and I'm paying $2,000 more for the trade-in? And now we look at the bottom line, we're looking at a $3,500 price difference on a car that's 6 months old. That's a pretty good savings, $3,500. What if you look at one that's 2 years old and now your savings is $7,000 over the price of a brand new one? When we look at and compare the out-the-door price. Frontier Motors is the go-to dealer for advice. If you want to sell your car, come to us for a free Carfax report. Carfax reports cost $43 right now with tax, $39.95 plus tax, about $42, $43. They're free at Frontier Motors. You're going to sell your car, you're going to buy a car. I don't care if you buy it from a dealer, doesn't matter to me. Give us the ID number, we'll run the Carfax. And my computer not only tells me what the history report says, it also tells me what these cars are selling for in our area. And who knows, with having 300 cars in inventory, if not 400 cars, when we have them available, we might have that exact car on our lot, or very similar to it, and we can use our car as a comparison testing, not to talk you out of buying the car that you've looked at. Maybe it's a neighbor that's got a car. And they're saying, hey, I'll give you a good deal on the car. And you say, okay, how much is it? And they tell you it's $17,000. You call us up. We run the Carfax. It's a clean Carfax. The neighbor was correct. It's never been in an accident. He bought a brand new. You still got 5 months of warranty left on it. This is all the history report. He just had the oil change down at Jiffy Lube the other day. And by the way, we've got that car in stock at $15,000. So you can use that information to go back to your neighbor and say, hey, I love the car, I want the car, but they got one down the road and I'm buying from a dealer. You should be less than the dealer, but I'll pay you the same as I can buy from Frontier Motors at $15,000. And what I'm hoping that happens is they don't sell it for that and you'll come back and buy a car from us. That's why I do this free service. There's an ulterior motive, folks. It's to sell you a car, but not to pressure you into buying from us. It's to give you free advice that if it is a good deal, what if that neighbor's selling that car for $12,000? I'd say, hey, give me his number, I'll buy it. Or obviously you're going to run back there and go ahead and buy the car. So we're going to tell you if it's good news. We're also going to tell you if it's bad news. And please don't call us up after you buy the car. It's too late. We're only going to make you feel worse if we told you paid too much for that particular car based on the inventory that we have. I mentioned before that we have 230 some cars I need to say this throughout because a lot of people are changing channels. They see my mug and they keep going. So we want to get the word out. We are low on inventory. We are paying top dollar more than I ever remember that we're paying for used cars right now because we're having customers that are scrambling. They look at the new car prices, which, by the way, the average new car went up another $2,000 last year from an average selling price, the transaction price of $34,000 all the way up to $36,000. So what does that mean when you walk in? That's the average. A lot of them are way more than that. Go look at a pickup truck these days. I can't believe it that a F-150 can top $70,000 for a 150. That used to be F-350 diesel dually numbers. Now those vehicles can go up to $90,000 to $100,000. I get sticker shock when I take my bicycle to Car City on a Sunday and look at window stickers. I'm like, holy mackerel. I can't believe what these dealers are charging for these cars. And it's not the dealers, it's the manufacturers. And what's even worse is the manufacturers are cutting their profit margins to the dealers, which means that you can't get the discount. I remember when I started selling cars in 1975, a $10,000 car had a 25% markup. So you had a margin of $2,500 that the dealer had to work with as far as discount to transact to cost. And now some of those margins are down to 4 and 5%. Which means you're looking at a $30,000 car. You might, if you're lucky, you might be able to get $500 or $600 discount on the cars. A lot of dealers, as a matter of fact, are putting a dealer markup on their cars. They're going above window sticker on those cars because they're not making enough money to make it worth their while to sell used cars when they're making $400 or $500 on a new car. You can't stay in business making that when you look at some of these mausoleums and how much these dealers are paying to build these mausoleums. That's why 25 years ago, we bought our dealership for $110,000, and then we added on a little parcel at a time. I think we accumulated 7 parcels since then, and a couple of them were $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000. So we started small, and we grew small, and we were able to pay cash for our building, and we don't have the overhead that new car dealers have, and that's why even Consumer Support say that the best deal you're going to get on a used car is from an independent lot, because you don't have to pay the overhead that you do when you have a new car lot. And who pay? There's a couple dealers that, I see it in my automotive news. I get this magazine and I see the transactions that happen when these dealers are selling their cars. And there was a dealer that was buying a car out in buying a dealership in California. He was building a new dealership, and it was a new record. It was $279 million to build this mega dealership out there. And I'm thinking, how does he stay in business? Well, he has to make a lot of money per car to be able to pay for that. And that's why you want to seek out an independent dealer like Frontier Motors for your next purchase. A couple of other things we offer, folks, is if you do get an accident, you want to know if your car is totaled, you want to know what not so much the book value is, which you want to know also, but also what replacement value is. Some insurance companies use book values, like the NADA, for example. Some insurance companies use comparables. So they'll go out, 200 miles, and they'll find one car for this price, one car for this price, and they'll base it on, well, what if the book value is quite a bit higher than the comparables? I can find other comparables that are more expensive. Obviously, they want to save money, so they're going to give you the low comparables. I can give you the high comparables, so I can make sure that you at least get replacement value for your car. Now, what if the car got sideswiped, but it wasn't totaled, but extensive damage? And it wasn't your fault. Now you have what we call diminished value. Insurance companies started paying diminished value about 5 years ago. And the reason they started doing that is because Carfax and other history reports were starting to put on there the extent of the damage. You used to just say accident happened. Now they say minor, moderate, or major. What if you have a moderate or major accident in a car that's 1 year old? And let's say that car was $50,000 brand new. You've got $15,000 worth of damage. They're not going to total it. They're going to repair it. On the Carfax report, within months of the accident, it's going to come up that you have a major accident reported. The airbags were deployed. The vehicle had to be towed from the scene. Well, what does that do to the resale value of the car? You'd think because they fixed it with brand new parts, it would be better. It's not. It's worse. People have an issue with that. I have customers walk out and say, I'm not buying a car that's been in an accident if we've taken one in trade. I said, well, it's fixed with brand new parts. What's the problem? Well, because I don't know if it was fixed properly. So they have now what they call diminished value, because there is diminished value. If you have a Corvette that's been smashed up, what does that do to the value of the car? It diminishes it quite extensively. We are the only dealer that I know of in Pensacola that will give you diminished value in every make and model. I know Alan Turner did it on a new car a couple of months ago for a customer. I was kind of surprised to see it because we do it also, but we do it on any make and model. And a lot of dealerships won't touch it because there could be litigation. You might be called to court because they're going to ask you to testify, yada, yada. I don't care about, that's all baloney as far as I'm concerned. I'll put in writing that your car, as far as I'm concerned, or our managers are concerned, is now worth $5,000 less. And the person that caused you harm should pay that diminished value through their insurance company. If it wasn't their fault, you're not going to get diminished value. If you hit a tree, you're not getting diminished value. If you have a flood, it's not diminished value. But if somebody harms you, you are entitled to diminished value because your car is now worth less if and when you trade it. And you should get that money right away. Now, we've only got a couple more minutes left, so I want to let you know again that we're kind of hard up to buy cars. We're low on inventory. We have less than 300. I want to be at 400 to 450 cars in inventory. So we are paying top dollar for your car. Within 15 minutes, I can give you a buy bid of your car. If you're going to buy a car somewhere else, run it by us with the ID number and the mileage and the equipment, and I will tell you what that car will cost through Frontier Motors. That'll give you the ammunition to make sure you get a good deal. And we can also run that free Carfax report as mentioned before. If you're going to buy a brand new car and I can't talk you out of it based on huge depreciation, I can tell you what to pay. We have the new car cost guides for every car. I can tell you what the rebates and incentives are on those new cars. But most of all and best of all, I can tell you what your appraisal should be on your trade-in. So let's say you walk to a new car dealer, they're giving you a good deal on their car, you're happy with the deal, now you toss them the keys for yours and you get a $20,000 appraisal, and you were at Frontier Motors and you had a $22,000 appraisal. Well, shouldn't that dealer that you're buying a new car from give you more than what we're giving you if you're not buying from us? I think so. I think they should be giving you $23,000. So you can use that ammunition to get yourself a better deal. If they won't pay it, you can trade it in there and I'll buy it right from the dealer for the $22,000. Or better yet, I'll just write you a check and you can shop without a trade-in, which is the easiest way to get yourself a good deal on a car. So there's a lot of things that we can do to help you make sure that you don't get taken advantage of when you're in the car buying or selling process. I still feel the safest way to sell your car is to sell it to us, where you don't have to worry about taking a trade-in. You don't have to worry about the customer asking for you to finance it. We don't have to worry about them wanting to get the car inspected and taking the car away from you for a day while they're getting inspected. You don't have to worry about a warranty because we warranty our cars before we sell them. So there's a lot of advantage that we have at Frontier Motors. Check out our website. We have 31 detailed photographs. They all have pricing. But the best thing, again, folks, to remember that if it has to do with a car, we are the dealer to go to for free advice. 230 Beverly Parkway. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Looking for the best car, SUV, or truck? Guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we've got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.